Hello and welcome to Howard's Cave of Wonder. I'm Chris, aka Howard Blues, welcoming you back down here to my cave and another episode of my vlog. A show where, I call it a show. It's really just a chance for me to sit here, do some hobby work, chat, and hopefully give you something to listen to while you do your own hobbying. So, what am I working on? Well, funny thing, in the last vlog, I claimed that I was going to get Bruce finished on this one so that he'd be the first model of the year. Well, that's not true, because I had forgotten I finished up Pair of Monks at the very beginning of the year, so those are the first two. I finished a gelatinous cube. So, Bruce has a chance to be fourth, but we're going to finish Bruce today. There's not a lot left that I want to do on him, so let's finish him up and try and just have some fun with it. So what needs to be done on Bruce? Well, if you saw last time, I got the water done on Bruce, so that's looking good. I'm for the most part pretty happy with it. So first time using those tinted glosses, and I think I learned some lessons on there. Because to me, you really wanted to see the gloss on the model, and I don't think that's the case. I think you almost want it to appear clear when you're putting it on because it will stain it much better than you think. But I like how this turned out. The water is fantastic. So that brings us to Bruce. So Bruce, what needs to be done? Not a whole lot left here on Bruce. I want to take and do some work on the inside of his mouth and gums. Just add, I'm just going to glaze a little bit of red kind of through there, kind of get it to just add one more kind of dimension to it and kind of bring all of my different layers together. So we got that. The teeth definitely need to be done. The eyes need just a slight touch-up on them just to bring them into kind of what's correct. I also want to just do a nice glaze over his skin to kind of just match the speckling into there. I'm going to try something very different on that. It's an idea I have. Will it work? I don't know. We'll see. So there's that. And then just some highlighting down here on his body. Last time I worked on him, I did a wash and put a nice bit of gray on him. He needs a little bit more attention there. So we got that. So that's what I got going for with Bruce. And I think it's doable. In an hour? Well, it's very doable. Depends on how distracted I get. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the mouth because I think once I get that done, then I can jump to teeth. So for this glazing, I'm going to be using some of the old P3 red ink. I loved the P3 inks. I still do. They are amazing. And they work very well for this process. So I keep hoping that Steamforged will bring back the inks. So I want to drop this down. This is a very red. I'm not going to need a whole lot. And, ooh, I need to add more water to my little water dropper here. I am going to add a bit of water to it. Not that you need to add a whole lot of water to these inks. They are actually pretty good and pretty solid for being somewhat thin. So, but I just want to hit them just a little bit more. So with inks, they are very kind of stainy, so I want to be very careful with it. I do tend to, when I glaze, I kind of check to see, hey, is it the right consistency on my thumb? Maybe drop off some of the heavier stuff. And here we go, Bruce. We're just going to take and just kind of glaze it in. I don't really want it to pool too much. Coming back in, as I said, just kind of. I got a little bit too much on there, but that's okay because I just kind of clean my brush real quick. As I said, I want to do this mostly to just a little color. I don't want to get it too messy, and if I do get it kind of too much, I will kind of come in and just bring kind of my clean brush in and just wipe away at a few spots. Kind of just taking off the pools and such. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Some color variation and all of that in there. Oh yeah. Woo. Okay, let's move on to teeth. And for teeth, I'm going to start with a little blonde highlight here. Kind of a yellowish color. But it's a very, very desaturated yellow. I think that's a good starting color. I'm moving fast because there's like a part of me that's like, ooh, we can get Bruce done. We could get Bruce done. That's exciting. I always like finishing projects on this in these videos because I don't get to do it often enough. If I'm being honest, it's it's one of those things that I wish I got to do more of. But sometimes you just don't get lucky enough to finish. You run out of time. But also, I've always have stated, and if you're new to this channel, I hobby at the speed of hobby. And so, unlike other YouTubers who have a project done and every video you get to see kind of the whole process start to finish, in these I try to capture a little bit more of the feel of, in my opinion, what you actually go through in the hobby. And that this stuff takes time and effort. And that is not to badmouth those who do produce something every week. That's an incredible amount of work to do that. And that's impressive. So I give them a lot of credit for doing those things, because I sure couldn't. But I also feel like a lot of times when you see your favorite YouTuber and all they are doing is a model a week or a bunch of models a week, you can really get in your head about, oh gosh, I have to be painting that quickly. If I'm not, then I'm not a good painter, or I'm not a great painter. And truthfully, the attitude that I've often said is you can't judge yourself based off that stuff. They have probably some advantages that the rest of us don't have. I am seeing as I get up and close with his dental work that I kind of missed a spot in his inner gums here. It'll need some touch-up. So we'll have to figure that out. I'm kind of coming in trying to do the inside of the teeth. I'm not going to worry about getting these kind of 100% perfect. They're only really going to be seen from a certain angle. And because of that, I'm not going to go too ham on even the highlight, at least on the inside. I don't think that that's a necessary step at this point. I just want to put, it's kind of my base color on there. We'll leave the highlighting to the other side. So I'm definitely seeing some spots where I could have gotten the gums a little bit better. Okay. Touch them up. So, hey, Mr. Bruce has got teeth. But we definitely got some black still showing through because there's some missing. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to grab a little bit of this. This is their Reaper Miniatures Breast Cancer Awareness Pink. And we're just going to kind of go ahead and try and fix those spots. Let's do that little bit of touch-up now. And the good thing is I still have red available to me, that red ink. So that's kind of why I'm going with this color. And we'll just kind of touch up any spot on his gums that I feel needs it. It's a very pink color, which I think should blend in just fine. Oh. You can see like in here where we missed. Around there. And then just kind of maybe finding a few of these spots where I didn't get enough. And it's not going to be enough of a color, I think, that it's going to like throw off anybody who looks at this miniature, but we'll also hit it again with that red ink a little bit as we try to just blend it in a little bit. But I can see like up here along the top, I did not come in and get kind of in between his teeth as great as maybe I should have. So just try my best to kind of come back and fix that. Basically, flossing the Bruce. I'm not too worried if I get any on the teeth because I can always go back and fix that. What is the interesting thing about painting? You can think you have everything just perfect, and then as you look at stuff closer, you go, oh, yeah, made a mistake here, missed a spot there, need to come back here. Okay. That's looking better. I think the spots where I still am seeing some black, those are spots where I need to hit his teeth just a little bit more. So just giving a second coat to the teeth. I definitely think this blonde color was kind of the right choice for this. Looking pretty good. I'm finding those spots where it's like, oh, I missed here. Need to get the tooth better there. Teeth are usually, it's not something I spend a ton of time on. But sometimes they're the most important thing because, again, if our goal with everything is to make the model shine, and especially to draw people's attention to certain areas of the model, teeth are, part of the face, and that's where we're wanting people to look. So having teeth look good can really help. And I mean, on a shark, you're going to want to look at the teeth. So trying to get, again, the right amount of color everywhere. And it's rare that you have a model that's making quite like this face where you can like, oh, I can really get in there. I can see the back of the teeth. Okay, Bruce, you're looking stunning. You're looking stunning, my dear. Loving the look. Loving the look. When we put a little next color highlight on there, it's going to look really great. As I contemplate next steps. Okay. Next step, I think I'm going to try to glaze the gray. So on him, I had done this nice kind of speckled blue. Now I'm trying to match a little bit more of the of Bruce, the shark from the Jaws movies. That was the name of the animatronic shark. And when you look at his skin, it's a little bit more grayish greenish. I'm a little bit more grayish bluish. So I kind of want to bring it there. So here's what my plan is, and this is risky. I don't know how this is working. I'm going to take a little bit of olive drab, this color here, which is kind of a dark olive green color. I'm going to make a glaze out of that. I'm going to try to just very carefully glaze that over the gray, hoping that that will kind of add those greenish tones to it, and kind of take my blue highlights that I did and kind of bring those down a little bit. And I could all just be, you know, this could all be bunk and not work. In my mind, it's gonna work. Let's hope my mind is not wrong. So I'm adding quite a bit of water to this because I want to get that glaze consistency in this. It might take even more than I have. This is, I always like to kind of test a bit on my. Yeah, I think that'll play. You can see that's where I was kind of at first, but you can see where I've put it on my thumb there, and you can just make out the slightest greenish tint to it. So I think we're okay on this. So this is where I like to use a little bit bigger brush, just because he's big. Although I do want to be very careful. I don't want to get onto that white if I can help it. We want to just kind of brush this on. And I don't want to put too much on. We're looking to just glaze on. So using my hand, kind of soaking some of that off, and then just applying that on. And again, I don't really want it to overdo. I'm not trying to make him green. I'm just trying to tint him a little bit. And if I do feel like it's too much, I can add a little bit of water to my brush and kind of come back in. Just move things around a little bit. So just, again, wanting to give that hint, that impression. Of him being that color, but mostly just a hint of it. And I'm kind of using the base of him, because the base I know is in the water part of the model. So that's where I'm kind of trying to start with a lot of this, because if I get too much on, that's okay. That part's not going to be as seen as much as up top here. So I can make sure I get just the right amount as I put this on. So far, I'm pretty happy with the look. It's adding kind of what I was hoping it would do. Just a greenish tone. Being really careful as I come up around his nose and such, because I have a lot of white that's in that area. I like this holder, but in retrospect, I should have chosen a different holder for him, because I've just had a heck of a time with that little skeleton thing on there. But yeah, this is, I think, working out pretty well. It's adding just a nice tone to it, kind of what I was hoping for. Just not a full green, but just, like I said, brushing it in is just adding a nice extra color shift to him. And as I said, trying to bring him in line a little bit with his bigger brother. And give him that rubbery skin kind of look. Okay. I think that has succeeded. He needs to dry for a little bit. I got a little on the white, but overall, yeah, he's looking nice and kind of dullish and greenish and rubberish. It's great. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. So I'm down to highlighting the teeth and highlighting the white. And then we can call this shark done so. Well, and the eyes. And I need to look at shark eyes quick, because he's going to be jumping out of the water. And I'm looking for ones of them jumping out of water, because that's what I really want. So in the water, it looks to be just very black circles. Even jumping kind of out of the water. It looks actually... It's kind of cool. I'm going to make sure I grab this photo. It really looks like it's a darker color, and then a light ring, and then another kind of dark circle in there. Okay, cool. Some definite things to try. It's interesting. I'm looking at some of these references, and I sit there and go, gosh, I could have scarred this guy up a little bit more. If I ever paint another shark, we will do that. But yeah, it looks very much like black eggs. Okay, cool. Always good to do a little bit of research when you're looking at stuff. As I kind of let that dry a little bit and figure out my plan, let's talk about what else I've been up to. So I have been doing some other painting, just because I don't paint everything just on this channel. I have taken and gotten a couple of miniatures ready for my kids. So my son wanted to paint a mouseling wizard, so I got him all ready to go. And little miss wanted to paint a unicorn, so she's got that all prepped and ready to go. And if you want to know more about how I paint my kids, go back. A while ago, I did a video on how I do painting with my kids and kind of explained that process. But that's not the only things. I've started this guy. This is a fun Reaper miniatures. It's a monkey cowboy. And so I've started that. I kind of done some base coating. Not a whole lot if you're seeing kind of the speckles on his arms. Truthfully, I was painting something else, had some of the color left over, and I just kind of slapped it on just to put a color on. What was I painting, you may ask? This, which is almost done. This is from Reaper Miniatures. This is Hector the Zombie Chef. And I've been working on him. He's nearly done. I need to do a little bit of work on his hatchet, a little bit on kind of his stuff on his belt, and I decided that I sculpted out this checkerboard floor, which is a little wonky, but I'm kind of okay with it. Hey, was trying new skills, and it's fine. But I decided last minute that I need to add some debris to his base, so I added this red Solo cup and then this bottle back here to his base. Give him a little bit more basing, and so I need to paint those. But yeah, I'm really down to just kind of. I want to highlight his hair just a little bit. I need to do a little something to his eyes, not a whole lot. I kind of like my zombies to kind of have no real eyes, just kind of that white-eyed look. And then the meat cleaver, the cup, the bottle. I need to highlight his pants a little bit, do a little bit of brown work on his belts and such, just to make those a little bit more interesting. They're kind of a little bleh on here. And then I'll add some blood splatter effect to him, and it'll be good. So yeah, I've been working on some other things. Otherwise, the big thing, as I start to now get some paint going, the big thing has been trying to get my my cave cleaned up a little bit. It's gotten a little messy down here. Just a lot of projects in place. The board game pile of stuff that has come in that I just have not dealt with is getting to the point of ridiculousness, and it's like, oof, I really need to clean this up and make it nice. It's kind of atrocious. So there's some work to be done down here in the cave, and so that's after I finish this video. That's my plan, is to do a little bit of cleanup, little housekeeping, just try and get this done, and such. And then I'm hoping tonight, because I need to. I have a couple of gift projects that are in various states, and I need to do some work on them. And I've struggled with that a little bit. Just being motivated to tackle some of these things is I know I need to tackle because they're now kind of ridiculously late. And it's been a little hard to get the old painting motivation up. I said recently in a different vlog that I've been going through some health stuff, and it's making it a bit challenging to be motivated at night. Some of the stuff is leaving me kind of tired and drained at the end of the day, and so it's a bit of a struggle then to want to paint. So working on Bruce's teeth, and I'm really just trying to do the tips. I'm just using now a kind of a lighter white color. This is my classic. This is Reaper's bleached linen. Probably the white I go to more than anything else. And I'm just trying to hit the tips of the teeth. And the nice thing is, because I use that blonde highlight as the start, and it's kind of a very desaturated yellow, and then bleached linen is kind of like another step or two down on that. So it's It's a white with some very yellowish tones to it. So it's a great highlight to that blonde highlight. Now, I will say, with a shark model like this, I very much could have gone a little bit more on the gory side, but I didn't want to, truthfully. That was my choice. I saw a lot of pictures of sharks jumping that were a bit more gory, and I thought about it, but then I kind of really thought about what was happening in the photos, the reference photos I was looking at. And a lot of times the reason why they're bloody is that whoever was photographing, the researcher or such, had chummed the water and was using a piece of meat that was giving off blood. And because of that, you know, of course the shark's mouth was a bit bloody. It, you know, it just chomped down on a nice bloody piece of meat. So of course it's gonna have that effect. Okay. Cool. I feel teeth are done. I think we're good there. So now I'm going to take this white, because as I said, I need to re-highlight some of his belly and some of that. After I put that gray on, I'm going to use this color. I'm just starting down lower. We have some of these ridges. And because it's like those are areas that are going to be a little bit more hidden away, it gives me a chance to check my color. Is this the right color for what I'm doing? I think it will be. So I'm just kind of using one of my favorite kind of strokes, which is this little hitch stroke. I don't know if hitch stroke is the right word. That's just what I'm going with. And yeah, we're just coming in and just highlighting some of these places to bring the white back a bit to where it was. It's great to kind of see this model coming to an end. A little sad though. I've enjoyed this little painting of Bruce series. Hopefully you did too. Fun to complete something and do something in a, you know, that you absolutely love and you enjoy and can kind of pay tribute and homage to it. I mean, I grew up with the Jaws movies. It's what made me fall in love with sharks and all of that. And I'm waiting. My son will one day be big enough that I can show him Jaws. That'll be fun. That's the interesting thing about being a parent, and I'm sure some of the other parents out there, you have that same thing. You have things that you're like, I can't wait to show my kid this. You know, he just needs to get a little older so he can see or experience this. And at the same time, you know, you don't want them to grow up too fast. And you want them to kind of stay small forever, even though you know in your heart of heart it won't. It's it's the parent paradox, if you ask me. I'm sure somebody smarter has already thought of that and given it a much better name, but not. You're welcome. I've now introduced you to a new thing that you can bring up and sound really smart. But yeah, the parent paradox. You wanting your kid to grow up so that you can introduce them to all your favorite things, and yet at the same time wishing that they would stay small and cuddly forever. Just remember, check the small cam, Howard. Make sure you're on cam. One day I will improve the setup on here. It's I kind of base it on if I get enough people watching. And I know it's a horse and an egg question, you know, when it comes to improving setup on things like this. It's that, do I improve the setup because it'll get me more viewers, or do I wait till I have more viewers to justify improving the setup? There we go. Sure, and highlight up around his nose and face. We're just getting a little dry. So, what have you guys been painting? That I always like to find out, you know, what people are painting, doing, or, you know, hey, if you're not a painter, what you doing hobby wise? So my hobby time is going to be sucked up here by cleaning as soon as I'm done here with Mr. Bruce. You will you know, get my cave back in order a little bit, trying. I didn't do a cave clean out this year. It's a little weird. Every year my wife takes the kids to a cabin that belongs to her family, and, you know, they do a big family reunion. I don't go. It's too many people for my liking. So not my cup of tea. Anyway, she takes the kids, and usually that becomes my work in the cave weekend. I actually take, because they go like on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal. So I take the Thursday, Friday off, and I've used that as times to kind of work down here in the cave and just reorganize or change things around, make things better. And I have not had the opportunity to do much of that this year. So it's a bit of a mess. So on this part, I'm just kind of using some real watery paint just to kind of highlight some of these larger areas, like his fins. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh, all right, hang in there. Just kind of going a little sloppy on this. I'm not worried too much about getting it 100% correct. Just, it's a shark. It's an organic thing, and so a little coloration, little deviation, a little of that, it's okay. I don't need it, again, to be perfect. I'm trying to clean up a little bit of this spots where maybe that wash made things look a little sloppy right in there. But otherwise, yeah, just trying to highlight a little bit. I've actually kind of watered my paint down a little bit more so that I can kind of go in some of these spots. Just kind of not quite glaze it up, but just be really light and delicate on it. I think the only thing left is his eyes. I'm going to come back in with this red ink, because I said I would. And then a couple of spots where I was a little on the pink side with that. So I just dabbed some into his mouth there. Now I'm just gonna wet my brush. I'm just gonna kind of kit in along these teeth a little bit. Try and just blend that pink I used in. And I don't mind if I get a little on kind of teeth and such. Fine. Just, yeah. You know? Okay, eyes. Eyes. So, eyes. What we know, we need to do kind of one color, white dot, and then fill as much of that white dot. But I want to use the right white dot on that. Probably more of like a darker gray would actually pull that off, you know, something like this. So, but we can't just do plain white dots. So I'm actually going to grab some Nightmare Black, which is a blue black. Let's go with that. I think if I recall from the film, his eyes were more of a brown black. But I don't want to do that. I get some artistic license with this. So blue black, Nightmare Black. We're going to do that. Then we'll hit it with kind of a gray, and then we'll kind of fill it in. We're going to see if we can pull off this very subtle shark eye. So I'm going to come in. On the bright side, he's got really big eyes, so that'll help as we try and pull this off. There you go. And as usual, when I paint eyes on this channel, I get very quiet because I'm going into focus mode. Okay, gotta let that dry for a little bit. And as I said, I'm gonna hit it up with some non-metallic metal silver shadow, which is just a on the floor. It's a darker kind of gray. I want to do that because if I did white, the white would really shine out as a circle. And this is something that when I was looking at those eye photos, you know, you could just barely make out that kind of circle on there. So I want something that a gray like this is, you know, should be okay. And if I need to, I can kind of glaze over it a little bit and hide it a little bit. This paint needed a lot of shaking. Doing well. Coming up to the end of this, we're going to finish Bruce. For everybody who's been excited about that, which I think is mostly me. We are. So, I kind of want to go towards the front of his eye. He looks so scared. I love it. I love that look. I don't know if it's showing up well on the camera, but I love how that looks. I mean, I still got to put a bit more of the Nightmare Black in there, but that looks, oh. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I am excited. Bruce is going to be done. This is why I love painting, because when you get to the end, oh, I mean, this is going to be great. At the end of this video, we'll have glamour shots. I mean, as best as my photography skills are. We could have a fully fledged Bruce. Perfect paint job? Nah. Fun paint job? Sure. And that's it. I'm shaking up some matte varnish. I'm getting that ready. Like, that is how, like, yeah, I am into this. Although, there's a question like, maybe I should hit him with the gloss varnish. He is a shark. He is going to be wet and coming out of water. So you'd expect a bit of a gloss on him. Yeah. Well, I guess here's the thing. I can always hit him with a gloss, and if I decide I don't like it, I can go back and hit him with the matte varnish. Okay. That gray should be dry. Let's go in. Here we go. Make or break time. Let's get steady, Howard. Let's finish Bruce off with style. So the goal with this is to fill in that gray circle, but leave just a ring of it still existing. So coming in, Nightmare Black. One done. The camera can't pick up my heartbeat, but it's racing, folks. Not enough paint down there. That looks menacing. I do think that I'm going to take a little bit of blue wash and just wash over it a little bit and kind of hide that gray just a little bit, but oh, kind of hold, see if we can get him like that. Is gorgeous. Those are good. I like those. Don't know why. I'm like, oh, this is looking so good. I just don't want to screw it up. The joy of painting eyes. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Real good. Okay. Little blue wash. Little blue wash. And again, I'm just gonna kind of glaze it a little bit just to try and hide that gray, just a little bit, just a little bit. We're not trying to be super serious with this. Or be too crazy with it. It's just Trying to match my reference art just a little bit to suggest. Yeah. That was the right call. Maybe a little too much on that one. I'm just gonna clear the brush a little bit, pull some of it off. But yeah, that's the right call there. It just hides it just enough. Excellent. Excellent. While I'm got some colors on. Hey, Mr. Chef. I wasn't planning on painting you really on here, but I have this gray out, and I would be remiss. That's not the perfect thing to kind of start in on your blade here a little bit. So I'm holding him upside down because that's going to make the stroke the easiest for me. And I'm going to come back in with a silver, but I'm just kind of building this up. And I'm not worried about even because I just want it to look with them. So painting upside down. One of the interesting things, and I never would have thought of it when I first started about this, but you sometimes paint miniatures in very interesting and unique fashions. But when I do metal, especially metal like this, I have found that this is kind of my new favorite thing. I kind of go with a dark gray, it's black, and then I kind of hit some of these lighter grays in them, and then eventually I'll come in with a metallic and streak it, and it's kind of an interesting non-metallic metallic combo a little bit. I don't know, it works in my brain and helps produce something of interest. And I had gray paint, so might as well use it. This is common. This is why I like to keep a lot of projects going at the same time, because I often will look at, if I have extra paint, is there anything else that I'm like, I should slap this on something. Okay. Bruce is ready for the gloss. So I'm going to try this with a gloss varnish. See what I think of it. Because the matte varnish, it's not going to be perfectly matte. So, like right now, he's matte. If I thought that nobody would ever handle or touch him again, I'd leave him like that. I know some painters do. I do like to seal mine up, just for future use. But we're gonna try this. Although, you know what? I did his water as matte. I think I'm going to keep him matte. As much as gloss would actually make sense in this, I think matte is the way to go. Yeah, we're going to go matte. Indecisive. I hadn't really thought about it until just now. And now I'm like, trying to figure out what to do. I get this way sometimes with miniatures, especially at the end. Because it's like I'm nearing completion on this guy, and with this, if you've been watching this whole time, I mean, I'm several hours in on this guy, and so you'd hate to screw anything up in those last bits. You know, that's the truth of it. And especially something like this that, you know, has kind of been just a fun passion project for me. So just applying matte varnish, being a little loose and sloppy with it. Bruce is so anxious to be done that he's like coming off the holder. And you know, the nice thing is this is giving me a good sense of like what he would look like glossy as I do it. And I do think I went with the right choice of going matte on this. And we'll see. I can always come back and gloss him up if I need to. But I think he's going to look better. Better matte than this shininess that he's kind of rocking right now. And even then, the matte will still leave kind of a bit of a glossiness to him. So it'll work out. But just making sure I get him well coated, get the teeth, the mouth. Not really having much for pooling. That's excellent. Okay. Gotta wait for him to dry, and I don't think that's going to take too terribly long. All right. Bruce is done. He just needs to dry. I need to clip off that little snip, put him in his base. I'm not going to glue him down. And the reason would be I'd have to use super glue, and I think that's going to affect that. I think he'll fit snugly enough in there that I don't need to. So also I worry the base on his base is an acrylic disc, and sometimes with like super glue and such like that, it can fog that base, and I just don't want to do that. And that thing has already been varnished. I did that last week. So just waiting. You don't have to wait. I'll come back when I'm done. All right. I just cut off the little piece. I was going to do it on camera and then totally missed doing it on camera. So Bruce is off. He's still a little wet kind of in the mouth area, but that's okay. We're going to take and pull this off. I just use my glob of sticky tack here to clean that off. So I mentioned the fogginess. You can kind of see where I super glued it on, how that part is foggy, where this part not so much. That's why I don't really want to glue him on. But here we go. Bruce going in. And voila. We got ourselves a wonderful looking mini. I got him in the right spot, right? There we go. That's a little bit better. Voila! There's Bruce jumping out of the water. Uh-oh. He got a little bit of white on him right above the gills. I'll fix that here kind of momentarily, but overall, I think he's looking fantastic. There. So I mixed up a little bit of that gray with a little bit of midnight black. That'll dry pretty fast. Brush over that green kind of wash that we had. I'm kind of just blending it in just a little bit. Despite that bit of white, which I'm not sure where that came from. Anyway, despite that, he's looking pretty good. I'll put up some final photos of Bruce, but yeah, fourth miniature of the year done. He's looking pretty snazzy. So if with that, hey, thanks for tuning in. And if you watched all of the Bruce content, great. Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And I truly appreciate any of you who have watched these videos or have made it this far in this video. I am trying to grow this channel. If you liked this content, hey, feel free, up to you, give a like and a subscribe. I'll just put that out there for you. But otherwise, hey, feel free to leave comments, anything like that. It all helps with the whole algorithm and growing the channel, and it's always greatly appreciated. Oh, with that, I gotta go clean a cave, so better get to that. Hopefully we'll catch all of you back down here in the cave again next time. Good morning, everybody.